Hello fashion designers! In this video I will create a duffel bag with a metallic texture and some embossed elements on it. So I will first look for the bag. I'm using this template from the functional bag section, and I'm going to leave the middle and side view on, but I will reduce its opacity. In this case, I don't want to trace over the entire bag again. I am going to use the template as an outline itself, which is another way to use Prêt-à-Template app, especially if you don't have any design changes to the template like I don't have right now. I just want to illustrate the texture and the color. So I'm going to start on the first layer, and the reason why I'm leaving two views is because I want to try two different options maybe on these two views. So I will start with using this round marker, and I will choose a color that will be matching to the silver tone of my bag. I'm gonna use this color from the hair palette, and just color the entire section. For now, I will disregard the other elements. I will take care of those a little later and just focus on the main big shape. I forgot to mention, actually, I could use the color fill tool, but I went doing it by hand, which is fine. You can go ahead and do that. And let's use it maybe on this view. It's actually much faster. Excellent. Great. So now I will start creating the metallic texture, the metallic surface, and for that I will first think through a small scheme. So I want to make two versions. First version will be a more like a satin finish metal, which is not very shiny, and another one will be a high shine metallic surface. So here will be two small schemes that I will use, and the first one is less shiny, so the transition between the colors will be soft, approximately like this, and it will proceed to a lighter color as well. So the lightest to darkest will be approximately this range. You can take a little more, and I will use in the end a white pencil to create some small like texture, because it's not completely matte, so it will be like a light which is going to be a little bit like scattered around the surface, perhaps only in the light area. Yeah. And here will be a high shine option. So for that I will create a transition of a much wider range of values, and the transition between them is going to be as well much more obvious. Let me pick a marker, and yeah, so it will be having a very obvious much more defined areas of light and dark values, and as well it will have a wider range of those values. So from very dark to very light, I will have all these values and the transitions will be more sharp. So this will make me have that difference between high shine and satin finish. Okay, I'll just fix this quickly. So I'll keep it here and just start working on these. So to maintain this soft transition, the tool that I will be using for this bag is going to be a watercolor brush. It's gonna be much easier for me to apply it. And I will start with the same color, just a tiny darker, and thinking that the light source is going to be from the left upper side, I'm going to start adding darker shadows on the right side. And remember, when we are shading the cylinder, we are gonna have the shadow on the side, but then we're gonna skip it a little bit from the side to add the reflected light from another surfaces. So that is what I'm doing. So as you can see, the transition is very soft. So I think the shadows are saturated enough. Now it's time to move towards the lights. And I will need to probably change the size of the brush. And the top side also will have much more light from the left side more than from the right. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I could use maybe some brighter whites here. And now it's time to add shadows and lights here. I felt I need just to get this a little bit darker. Okay. And I would probably also use a little bit of shadow here at the bottom. Moving to this side. So for this side, I'm going to use a marker. And I will start also with a big size. And just creating vertical lines. Actually, I have an idea. I'm going to change the line to a straight line. It's going to be much more beautiful. Actually, every time I draw, I find new nice ways to create some effects. It's really cool. So I want to achieve a really dark shadow here. And then I can create light. I've switched to this marker to get like a more bright line. Okay. So the idea is to get this effect, which is pretty much already achieved. And it's actually quite easy using these tools. Quite easy. Just using straight lines. I think it's perfect, and I will do the next. I will erase everything that I don't need. Okay, so this is where I will have to come up with a way to introduce the embossed effect. And I'm going to create one more layer. I press the plus here. And just in case something goes wrong or I change my mind, I'm always going to be able to come back to this. And I will select the pattern that will be embossed. Go to the pattern library and try to find something that would look interesting. Perhaps one of these animal prints could look nice. Again, I will select 2 different types for different leather effects. Okay, I'll use 2 different animal prints. So I'll start using this one. And I will need the same color as this dark, but I'll take it darker. Remember, I'm on the next layer, right? So I'm applying it here over the shadow part. So it's darker than the shadow. Then I move and I'm applying a slightly lighter color. And somewhere in the middle it actually gets lost. If you can see this area, it almost matches, which is good. It should be that way. It shouldn't always be contrasting with your bag. And then I move it towards the light side. I apply lighter color. All the top part I actually want to do even with a lighter color. Okay, and going to this option, I will switch to another pattern. So I will take this patchy giraffe kind of pattern, and I will apply it as well to this bag. And this time I will try to match it with this gradation that I've already made in the background. Something like this. Okay, so I will switch tools and I will take, I could take a pen or around this thin marker. I guess I'll opt for a pen, and let's start with this. So what I need to do right now is create shadows, because if it's raised, this part is on top of the normal surface. So then the light will hit it from the side, except I'm using straight line. Let me undo. And I will add these lights, almost like when you draw the embossed text. It will always have one side with light and another side with dark, so it's like the same principle. You just add these lights from every side. When I feel it becomes too contrasting, and the most contrast will actually have to be in this part where the light transitions to the shadow, I will reduce a little bit the brightness, and I will keep on doing so around the shadows area. And the thickness of this line will determine the height, like how much the pattern is actually embossed. So if it's really raised, you might want to increase the thickness of this line. And now the time for the shadows. So exactly the same idea, but from the right side, you will want to build the shadow. Oh, here was supposed to be light. I actually got confused which parts. These turned out too dark, so I'll fix them. And the darkest here for the shadows. And now switching to this bag, I'm going to have much brighter contrasts. And I think I will switch to this marker. No, it's gonna be too thick. Okay, I'll stay on this pen. I think I will start with the shadows. So it's going to be more contrasting even on the light part. We will see some dark shadows. So again, the shades of these parts will be only a few, not so many like in the previous semi-matte surface. I would say 3, this white, gray, and dark gray, like almost black. And you will have occasional highlights even in the very dark area of the very light color, unlike the previous version. And now something that will become more apparent that with an introduction of texture, especially here, because here we have a very soft, subtle change. Here we have scales. So the light will not be diffused. It will sometimes hit some scales. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just gonna demonstrate what I mean by that. I will take a marker and unite some of the scales. For example, some of them will really catch a lot of light. So I will take the smallest size of the marker and try to create some highlights on them. Especially here in this area where it will be so obvious. This is too much. Not all, just few. And then I will take a much darker color and maybe create some of the shadows here to follow the pattern. I will introduce this dark shadow actually to both of the bags. So I made some of them much darker, because each of the scales, it will also work as a mirror and reflect the surroundings. So some of them will become really dark if it reflects something that's dark. And I really love this effect. So now I think I can finally remove these schemes. I'm probably clean the drawing area so I can start introducing some details. Okay, and I'm going to add one more layer on top because I used to have here some straps. So I'm going to color them. For that, I will again bring back the opacity of templates, which I can later reduce. And I think I will hide these layers to color the straps. So I will find a couple of colors which I think might go well with my color scheme before. I'll use these and these, and I will color pick one by one and fill in the straps areas, following the other side with this lavender color. Okay, so I will open these layers back and see what it all looks together. And then I will again reduce the opacity of the templates and work on the straps only. So I will take the marker, straight line, and I need freehand line, and introduce some dark and lights to these straps. Okay, I couldn't stay within the line, so now I have to clean it up. Okay, and same for this side. And now I will just add texture using a pen, like a ribbed surface. And I will use white color for the parts that get the light, as well as add thickness by adding the light part here. And now I will do the same with the shadows. And the same goes to this bag. I'll start with a lighter color. Okay, I will use eraser to clean this mess. And you can finally add some small metal details. Just going to use maybe another color, I don't know. I will add some shadows using one layer at the bottom and a marker with a dark gray color. So I'm just trying to introduce some fun background. And use this opaque marker with a white color, opting for a straight line to clean the edges of my background. And then I will erase everything else. So this is the final illustration. I hope you liked it and learned something new. Please like it and subscribe to this channel.